Something that we know is horrific.
I would have rather watched an actual dogfight, not a staged one. Terrible,
you would rather go to some guy's basement.
Live, not like dark web footage. I would rather go to a live dogfight where real, adorable, like cute dogs
are forced to murder each other.
None of them make it out.
Yeah. Even the one who wins, he doesn't make it out.
No, the winner gets killed.
Yeah, and then eaten by some rich guy.
By me, I'll eat it.
Okay.
Yeah. Then watch that film again. Oh, brutal. Absolutely brutal experience.
And just remember, it's too late to get out of it, so you might as well go on.
Do you ever get the feeling that people are incapable of not caring?
You know, I'm screwed up and average enough that I could write a song that'll live on forever. And then after that, it don't matter. I am the king of gay chickens.
No, seriously, what the fuck?
Honestly, you're in a memory in your subconscious.
Fuck! Seriously?
I don't know what you've been told, little lady, but the rest of us start at 9. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Good morning.
Hey, Benny! Looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river!
Is it going to be like this all the time?
My mum has a conspiracy theory.
Okay, good. This'll be enlightening.
She brought this up with me one day recently. She was like, you know when you see films, there's the bit at the start with all the different logos? I was like, yeah, the different production companies that are involved in the film. She's like, yeah. But it's always different ones. And there's always someone there that I think, I've never heard of them before. They can't all be real, can they? I was like, what are you saying? Like, what do you think is true here? She's like, it just doesn't seem right that there would be 5 production companies, each of which only ever make one film. And so I think she thinks there's some sort of like money laundering operation going on where people are setting up shell companies. And it's like, Parrot Films or whatever. When you never see Parrot Films again. There's only that one time.
Realistically, what it is that thing you never see again is someone's put their lifeblood into this specific film, spent 6 years writing it, getting it produced. Yeah. They get their sweet brand new film company name on something. And then it's fucking shit, and
Parrot Films is never
heard from again.
Yeah, there's that. But also, isn't it just every time you see those logos, you then immediately watch a film, so you don't really remember those logos you saw at the start. So why would you?
Yeah,
which is why I've never understood cinema advertising. I can't imagine a worse time to advertise something.
Well, through cinema advertising, Oscar Williams can reach up to 300,000 people each week about your something.
Yeah, Oscar Williams. The only cinema ad I remember are ads for cinema advertising, which is only because they've played before every movie for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's a false economy.
I think cinema advertising works. Well, no, I think it works for local businesses.
It works for films.
For local businesses?
I don't think so.
Well, I know a lot about Renaissance Retirement Village over in the Redlands because I go to the cinemas at Cineplex quite a lot. Yeah. And that plays every single time.
Sure, but you go to the movies a lot.
I do go to the movies more than I would assume the average person goes to.
I don't know who's walking out of Shazam 2 going, it was a good movie. What I'm really thinking about is I should get into pillow talk.
I should visit that local dentist.
What stuck with me the most was the footage of those white ladies falling happily onto pillows in that Pillow Talk ad.
Too many pillows.
It doesn't make sense. It is too many. You know how many pillows you need? 2.
Yeah. There is too many pillows.
In the world?
Yeah. Well, in some people's beds. You ever seen photos of like houses when they've been done up for sale and that you can see like a foot worth of bed?
Yeah.
And the rest of the bed is like pillows that aren't lying down. They're standing up like a library of pillows.
I think Pillow Talk and pillow talk adjacent companies. I think they're trying to like bump up the median of how many pillows you think you have. I think they're just trying to generate a world in which every bed has 9 pillows on it, because that quadruples their business.
I quite often struggle to make my bed as it is, because I'm going to sleep in it again and I don't really give a fuck. But imagine you were that person who had like 80 pillows.
Jordan Peterson just
And you just-
shivered wherever
you
he is.
Take them off every night and you fill your entire bedroom with pillows. More pillows than is foreseeable in the floor space around your bed.
Floor is pillows. At
You
that
sleep
point.
with your one pillow that you sleep with every night, maybe 2.
like a marine.
And then in the morning you get up, you hide that pillow so no one knows it exists.
Yeah, because that's your gross sleeping pillow.
And then the rest of them who've never been loved get placed upon that bed and they sit there in their resentment for you for the entire day until you come in again.
I have a very low patience with sofa
Once again,
pillows
throw them into the
as well.
See,
Because a sofa is made of pillows.
a sofa is one big pillow, but
Sofa, it's cushions on cushions.
But sometimes you want a cushion on your lap so you can put your book on it. Sometimes you want to lay down on the sofa and need a little bit extra cushion, and then that arm's going to give you, you know, a sofa cushion. A sofa cushion is a worthwhile additive to a sofa. Also, you ever seen a couch and just been like, that's a boring fucking couch? If you put a Nicolas Cage cushion on that couch, not boring no more.
I don't think I have ever looked at a couch and thought, oh, that's boring. I've looked at a couch and thought, that's a couch, and I've moved on with my day.
What about when you were couch
I like
shopping?
as little cushioning as possible. I just have a park bench in my living room, and it's got one of the armrests in the middle of it to stop homeless people sleeping.
On the subject of
even
as
lie
little
down.
cushioning as possible, my favorite kind of couch is like a 1950s couch that has wooden arms. Just like one flat bit, you're good. You're watching your film.
Yeah. Wooden
I would
arms.
get comfortable as fuck on that thing.
With bits of broken glass stuck to the top of it in case birds land on it.
Yes, I hate birds.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate them.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah. God.
I hate them.
You ever see a bird? You just want to kick it in the knees, don't you?
But I wouldn't, like, you know how when someone like puts all their weight on one leg and then you like nudge them in the back of the knee and they sort of collapse a little bit like an accordion. Can't do that with birds. If they've got all their weight on one leg, that knee's facing your way.
Yeah,
you can't sneak up. That is a design.
That's evolution.
That is.
That's evolution.
Their mates were all like, "Hey, let's get Gary," for too long.
Yeah, everyone was the first bird. Everyone was making fun of back to front knees bird until they tried to do that trick on him, and they realized he was facing them the whole time. They thought he was looking the other way, but they realized he's just got back to front knees. And then that bird became dinosaurs. Because that's evolution, isn't it? And then became birds again. But birds became
dinosaurs
became
have
birds, right
way knees though.
No,
Also,
they don't.
They have dirigible legs.
No, they have backwards facing knees like a horse.
Yeah, but they have both.
They have 4 knees.
Because they've got a thigh and then a knee and then a leg and then an ankle that goes down to the claws.
Jesus, what is what there? Where is the knee?
At the end of the thigh.
You never think about it. You never see a dinosaur kneeling down, do you?
Unless
Why
it's
would
like
it? Out of respect?
The
They don't respect
Triceratops
anything.
from the first Jurassic Park movie, who's real sick. And he's just like
the big cuddly one.
Yeah, the big like I think like a dinosaur would kneel down like an elephant kneels down. Real sad.
Only
you shouldn't really be in this zoo, and I feel sorry for you.
Only the cuddly Land Before Time ones.
True.
The ones that are a bit more metal.
Metal.
They're not kneeling. They're not kneeling for anyone.
No, they'll just eat people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They see anyone kneeling. They're the ones that go around kicking out the other one's knees so they can eat them. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Exceptional Thieves. This is a podcast where Isaac and I review and rewrite movies. I'm Sam.
I'm Isaac.
And this is the 3rd episode of our special series, Turns of Frase. Working our way through the many turns of the one and only Brendan Fraser, King of Film. So this
filmography starts out a little slow.
It's a real bumpy start, as it turns out. Today we're talking about Dogfight, 1991's Dogfight. There will be time codes below if you want to skip around and get to us talking about the movie and the very, very brief segment in which we'll talk about Brendan Fraser's
Which will probably happen at the end of the fucking episode.
Well, he turns up halfway through the movie.
Yeah, but...
Once again, similar to Child of Darkness, Child of Light. But this is a big step up from that. Because he's got a line and he does some choreography.
He does have a line.
He's on screen for, I would say, quadruple the time of Child of Darkness, Child of Light. By that, I mean
45
almost a full
seconds.
minute. Yeah. He's going to break. I'm looking forward to the movie where he
It's
breaks
nowhere
that.
near a minute though. It's like 10 seconds.
Well, every
and then a
second
fight scene.
of this film felt like 6 seconds of normal time.
You are correct, yes.
And I feel like by watching the 90 minutes of it, I've lost about 4 hours of my lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
I
we're
do
sort of being
feel like a pain inside me that I didn't have before.
Yeah, I think this is what it feels like when you wake up after being incepted. And you're like, was that just one night? Because I feel like...
Did Paris just fold itself?
Well, it's okay. I'm still in first class. Everything's fine.
Oh, I do recognize these people, but it's probably because I slept.
Imagine trying to incept someone like in economy. Fuck, they're in the middle seat. Just, excuse me, sorry, leaning over behind them with the headphones. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So anyway, yeah, today we're talking about 991's Dogfight.
That's one thing, sorry. Christopher Nolan didn't think about. When you're on an airplane.
I'll stop you right there, Isaac.
But when you're...
There's nothing Christopher Nolan
when
has
you're
not
on an
thought about.
airplane...
There's absolutely nothing.
You are sitting in your seat, enjoying whatever you're listening to.
Absolutely,
and then,
of course.
Dong, we're just passing...
Yeah.
Never happens in Inception. Not
True.
through any of those levels of dream do you hear. Dong.
Yeah.
And then a muffled voice just talking about where they're flying over Alaska is blue.
Everyone in the snow level suddenly has to put a seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Oh no, turbulence. Hopefully we don't have any, massive plot holes like that in Oppenheimer.
Yes. The first one that the plot's already written for him.
Well,
it's like...
I guess so, but history is malleable,
yes, we learned that at school.
Did we?
Yeah, many countries actually learn a malleable version of history when they go to school.
Right. Okay. You weren't taught that it is malleable. You were taught this is what it is.
Yes. I've learned the history of the winners.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome to the history of Australia. It starts not very long ago. You might be surprised to learn. So
tonight's full of bad topics.
We're doing.
What are we here to talk? Actually,
well, more importantly.
Okay. More importantly, Isaac, have you seen any good movies lately? Yes, I have, Sam.
What mightn't they be?
What did we see together?
We saw John Wick 4, baby.
Fuck yes.
Oh man.
Fuck yes. Was it good?
It was good. It's
not as good as I thought it could be.
Oh, really?
It's really not as good as it could be.
How could it be better? Let's do non-spoilers and we'll do a few minutes of spoilers.
This is a strange point for it to be better. Less fighting.
At a certain point, they've decided we're just going to do fighting.
Yeah, because it's 3 hours of...
It's 3 hours. It's 3 hours of fighting, and it is all good fighting.
The fighting is the storyline, and that's fine.
Yeah,
like there is a storyline that does take place within the fighting.
A skeletal storyline.
So much fighting.
Yeah, it does get a bit exhausting.
Yeah, and it clearly is exhausting for Keanu because the first fight is he's fucking slow as shit.
And I think it's meant to be exhausting as well. I think we're meant to.
I guess.
It
took it out of me. I still feel tired. And that could be from the film we've just watched. But
yeah, I think that's what saves it, is the fact that John Wick is doing impossible stuff all the time. But he is also just having a horrible time doing it. Yes. And is just suffering intensely. But yeah, I think I'll say it's basically like a Arthurian legend at this point. It's a mythic story of just these archetypes bashing into each other.
I will say that I still admire them building and building and building upon the lore of the world in every film.
Yeah.
And it just expands and expands and expands, and we still haven't met at the high table.
I know. Well, yeah, spoiler alert.
I mean, we've met the guy who's in control of them.
We've met bits of
twice.
The high table. Yeah, we've met the same guy in the desert, even though he's recast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still haven't seen the proper high table. I guess they're trying to keep some power, because once you've killed the high table, then what is it? Aliens? Like it's really over at that point. But I think I made this point after we saw it. Like when you saw the first John Wick, you're like, oh yeah, he was a hitman. That was his job. And then he didn't want that job anymore, and so he got rid of all his stuff and he married this nice lady. But being a hitman is very different to now. It's basically Game of Thrones that the world is. It's like it's a feudal system based entirely on violence and honor.
Yeah, there are armies of people who have dedicated their lives to this.
Yeah, it's Game of Thrones, but everyone has a phone and guns. And can you imagine being in that kind of a world and be like, no, I'm done, and I'm so done, I'm going to concrete over all of my stuff. You're definitely going to need that again. Like, whether or not your wife dies, whether or not the dog dies, you're definitely doing some more John Wick stuff.
The amount of people who've died in those films. The first one is a horrific amount of people to die. They're all from one gang. That gang is gone. And, like, all of those people presumably have families. So that affects an entire, let's say, a city is affected by one night's activities by John Wick.
Yeah.
He goes to cities
Doing his work.
and around, and he's killed so many people.
Yeah.
If the world
But it's okay,
as a
it's
whole doesn't know that John Wick exists, like if the regular world, not this high table underground world, if it, like, everybody knows
international
Baba
news.
Yaga, but like just regular Joes, like us sitting here doing a podcast, if there was a John Wick in the world, we would fucking know about it.
There'd be podcasts about it. There'd be a lot of Reddit threads.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
There would be photos.
Yeah.
There'd be those blurry photos of the fucking Bigfoot, but it's just a dude in a suit.
Yeah, but
wow,
it's
how
Keanu
did he survive
Reeves
that
in the
gunshot
exact same position.
to his fucking suit 60 fucking times. Nothing.
Yeah, it's basically a superhero story.
It is.
Gun
fu.
Very good. Please
Yeah.
keep going. I watched Elvis.
Oh, you didn't watch that at the cinemas?
No,
Did you love Elvis, Sam?
appalling.
Oh. Oh.
I'm embarrassed for everyone that was involved.
Oh.
Austin Butler does a very nice performance, but it's just in service of nothing. There's a review I read of it that I used, I think, what I would call the right terminology, called it a profoundly incurious film. It's just an absolutely interminable music video montage of
It is
stuff,
a music video montage, yeah.
of all the stuff that anyone who knows nothing about Elvis would think of off the top of their head that you'd probably put in an Elvis movie. And the decision to make Tom Hanks in a career worst performance, as far as I'm concerned.
Or is it a career best performance? Because I hate him in that film. I love Tom Hanks.
But no, I don't hate the character. I hate Tom Hanks and what he's doing.
But that's what the guy is like.
But the decision to have that character, who is the villain of the story, narrate the story,
It sullies the vision.
That character gets to give these sort of meaningful voiceovers, and gets like the last word on Elvis's life in the way you're telling this story, and without really giving us any insight into who Tom Hanks's character is and what he wants and what he's even really doing, or how he's doing it, or why he's doing it. It seemed like a just really incoherent and reductive vision of what their relationship must have been. And it's just Austin Butler, Tom Hanks, and every Australian actor Baz Luhrmann knows doing some truly atrocious accents at certain points. And I know it was all sort of COVID-y the way they had to make it.
They did, yeah.
Like when they're supposedly on the tarmac by that like awful CGI plane and stuff, and he's about to take off. Just really rubbish stuff. I hated it.
I like that you hated it.
I don't,
I didn't hate it.
I don't like to
but
be
I
too
didn't-
black and white
it's
about
not-
stuff.
It's
But
nowhere near the best thing.
Baz Luhrmann, I've taken against Baz Luhrmann in quite a strong way, and so
you are more than entitled to do so.
so I feel
Because I've never, and this may be blasphemous to a lot of people, because we do have a massive listening base.
Yep.
I don't.
Well, let's do it,
like,
Isaac. People listen in for the blasphemy. They listen in for the controversy and the radical hot takes.
I don't like Strictly Ballroom or The Great Gatsby.
No.
Australia? I do have time for Moulin Rouge, but specifically because it's a musical.
Yeah.
And the songs are done very, very well.
The one Baz Luhrmann movie I like is the one he didn't write, because it's Romeo and Juliet. I know it's very lame in a lot of ways, but I think just because I watched it when I was very young and it burned itself into my brain, R+J, great.
Also,
but it really grinds my gears that he lists himself as a co-writer on Romeo and Juliet. Did you, Baz? Did you co-write that?
Yeah.
Did you co-write Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann? Get over this. I know what you're saying. You had to do edits and stuff.
Also,
but
Australia.
you didn't co-write the screenplay for Romeo and Juliet, bro.
How much did he take out?
Oh, I know all those plays are very like 2.5 hours
they're
at
all
least
like
at full length.
5,
so,
7 acts.
Yeah.
It's like several days worth of theatre.
Yeah.
I have seen Luther Fallen Sun,
All right.
which is a Netflix original movie inspired by the television series of Luther.
Which, is it a continuation?
It's a continuation, yeah. I love that show.
Yeah.
That show was some girl.
I've never watched it, but
it's like Idris is a badass cop, but because he's a badass British cop,
good.
he ain't shooting people. He ain't like laying in. He's just being a badass cop.
Yeah, you just pick up a phone book and hit him or something. You know,
And it's
British
it's
style.
much cooler than watching some, like, as much as Die Hard is the best film ever made.
As much as that is true.
Luther don't shoot like 30 terrorists.
Yeah, British crime dares to ask that question: what if police didn't have guns and still had to try and solve crimes? Is it possible? Is it possible to fight against evil without shooting everyone? Apparently not.
Well, apparently it is.
Only if you're Idris Elba.
Fallen Sun, not terrible, but weird way to make a movie. Like I can't think of another way to make a Luther movie.
Yeah.
If you can't greenlit more seasons, because there are only 6 episodes, and like
Of Luther.
Well, no, each season, because it's a British British drama.
Yeah.
You get 6 per year.
Yeah.
Or 6 per 2 years.
6 every year.
And that's the whatever it is.
I think they bring out 6 for every Olympics. I think
That's
how
what
we like to do it in England. Yeah.
But like, it's clearly written that it could have been a 6-episode arc, because he gets framed and sent to prison.
Yeah.
And then he breaks out of prison, and then he does his
So
investigation.
the BBC was like, you can't have another series. And they're like, but we want to do
we've got so
another
much
series.
stuff to do. Put it in a film.
Well, cram it into 2 hours.
It's BBC Films is something you very rarely see these days. Andy Serkis is the bad guy in Luther. Does a nice job.
Is that a spoiler?
No, you know that from
He
literally
walks on
the
screen,
opening
he's
scene.
like, hello, I'm Andy Serkis. I'm in this prison and I'm bad.
He's not even in the prison.
Oh, spoiler alert.
He's
God damn it, Isaac. Stop spoiling everything.
Oh, sorry. This is all given away in the trailer for the film. I don't like when they do that, where they tell you who the bad guy is in the trailer.
I can't believe you watched the trailer.
That's
That's not even like you.
I did.
Trailer out for Extraction 2.
Oh, I saw it today.
Cannot fucking wait.
It's so fucking cool.
I love Extraction.
Me too.
Please make 5 of these.
Oh, I'll gladly watch more of this shit.
This is what Chris Hemsworth needs. He needs this kind of a franchise. It's got big... I don't know if I'm... It's probably just getting confused in my mind because of...
It's like...
Because the first one was in Bangladesh, but because Bangladesh is next to India, it's like crossing over with RRR in my mind. The way he's just like fighting a crowd of 1,000 dudes at the same time, just like hitting them with a riot shield. I'm like, yes, let's bring some more of that energy.
I think but it is... There's no better way of saying the words grounded in realism. But that's what like Extraction is attempting to do. Like, it's just... because it's dirty and gritty, and RRR is not dirty or gritty. It's beautiful, and they fight thousands of dudes, and they look glistening and wonderful. True. But Chris Hemsworth looks like fucking shit.
He does, and he's got the John Wick thing as well of just being in pain constantly. But I don't know, I think there was something just similarly operatic in its framing and staging that I like.
Well, for the trailer, definitely. Yeah. And I also love that the first one had a lot of one-shots.
Yep.
Like, one-shots are
Absolutely.
a Russo thing that they just want to do.
Look,
and
I'm a simple man.
Hella for it.
You put some one-shots in something, I'll overlook a lot of stuff.
It's like watching theatre, but with explosions.
Yeah.
It's like explosion theatre.
Which is what theatre has always been lacking, in my opinion.
True.
Yeah. And I saw Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Is that the James Franco one?
No, Pete Davidson is in it.
Okay, then no, I haven't seen that. I've seen a movie last year called Body Count, I think.
Okay.
Which was a horror film as well, but like in the desert.
Okay.
How was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies?
Good. Yeah. I really liked... I think it had a strong ending.
Okay.
Which horror movies will often struggle to do.
True.
It's a very interesting... It's a new take on for me, from what I've seen, a new way of doing a slasher movie.
Okay.
Could have been lame. Wasn't for me. There's a few times because it's very much like these characters are young and they're talking like young people. There's only a couple of times it it is cringe
They
in
say
its
bay and
attempts to
fam
do
a
that.
lot.
Someone accuses someone of being an incel at some point. They just drop it too awkwardly. I'm like, no, that doesn't work. I mean, and I would know because I'm a cool young person. You know
This
what I
is
mean?
true. This is
That's
true.
how I know.
I watched Come Play like a couple of weeks ago.
COME?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It's a monster
In
movie.
that case, go on.
A monster movie from last year, I think, with Britta in it. From
okay.
Community.
Okay. Did she Britta it?
She didn't Britta it. She was the mother of an autistic child. And the child befriends a monster that is within his iPad. And it's not a bad film.
Okay,
actually.
right.
Like, it was pretty good.
I was going to say.
Ending, I guess, was, as with most horror films,
Yeah.
a little, like, lacks fantasticness, but there were some good scares. There was good, like, because it's an It Follows type monster where, like, no one can actually see it, but it's
Love
there
it.
and you can only see it through, like, the camera or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And there's, like, lots of those things where it's, like, empty window, wind outside, and then a sheet forms the shape as it blows away.
Oh,
I love that shit.
I
love that
live
shit.
for that.
I love that shit.
Okay. Let's get into it. No more fucking around.
We've been
done our 30
avoiding
minutes
it
of
for
prep.
a while. What did we watch today?
So many people think that Brendan Fraser's debut movie is this movie Dogfight. They're wrong, as we've established.
And
See
we're
our
grateful.
previous episode. But having done Child Darkness, Child Alive, which was an absolute riot, in looking back at it now, what an absolute easy run we had.
It was just a peaceful film.
That was lovely. That was so easy to watch.
You could watch it again. I don't want to, but you could watch it again.
Yeah. Child of Darkness, Child goes down real easy. And then we thought, you know what? We're just going to go from strength to strength here, because now we're going to go and see Dogfight, 1991's. And look.
Starring River Phoenix and Lily Taylor.
Starring River Phoenix, Keanu Reeves' best friend, who was, I think...
He was in Stand By Me. He's in lots of things at the time.
My Own Private Idaho's is a big one with Keanu Reeves. And I guess he's developed a kind of James Dean type status historically from this vantage point, because he very tragically passed away from a drug overdose just a couple of years later in 1993 at the age of 23, and was obviously a very promising talented actor and a member of the Phoenix family. And this is one of the ones he did, and I'm very glad he got to make other films, frankly.
I'm glad he's known for other things.
Career. I don't think he's known for this.
Imagine that. Imagine being known for this.
Imagine if you did this and then just died.
And you don't want to speak ill of the dead, but you know how everyone knows that Heath Ledger's last film is The Dark Knight?
Everyone knows that.
Because it's an amazing film and he's
And
fantastic
everyone's
in
like,
it.
Well done, Heath. At the end of
But then after filming The Dark
career.
Knight, he was technically filming like the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Yep.
And that movie turned out to be terrible.
I don't remember seeing
Well, they
it.
were like, because once he passed away, Jude Law and Johnny Depp took the role at the same time, and like, it's just like,
which is a cool idea.
it is a very cool idea. Just sucks that movie was terrible, but it's cool that he did The Dark Knight like right before it. So like,
head canon, his last movie
is The Dark Knight.
Dogfight is a period coming of age drama set in San Francisco, the one in California. It's on November 21st, 1963, the day before the Kennedy assassination. And look,
Does that mean anything?
No, no. It's in the and I thought this is meant to be good. I looked this up online. Everything anyone has to say about it is positive. This was a well-received movie. Referring to the Wikipedia page, the film was widely praised by critics. It has a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes to this day.
Is there a way we can fix that?
Well, you want to review bomb Dogfight? Yeah, let's go back 32 years later. Let's set the record straight. Yeah, Roger Ebert remarked that the film isn't a love story as much as a story about how a young woman helps a confused teenage boy to discover his own better nature. The fact that his discoveries take place on the night before he ships out to fight the war in Vietnam only makes the story more poignant. I had a horrible time watching this film.
That horrible time starts in like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's beginning to end. It's the same, just distressing tone, and I don't know what anyone else is seeing.
There's no
but I'm not seeing
charisma. Between anyone?
No, and I was like,
Anyone.
River Phoenix, famously a great actor, famously someone who turned in these amazing performances very early in life. So I'm like, okay, great. Don't really know anyone else in it, apart from one guy. But surely this is going to be a strong performance. And it's really not. This is what the story is, and Brendan Fraser's in it. He's in it about halfway through. I mean, we'll get to it.
He's in it for the best part of the movie because he's in it.
We said it
specifically because he's in it.
Yeah. So let's go through it. Credits come up. Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser is not listed.
Brendan
in the
Fraser is
credits.
not credited.
We are gonna the first time that happens in a film is
gonna
gonna be an elated day.
That's going to be very, very exciting. Could be soon
I hope so.
because
Well, it's not long after this that he's doing shit with fucking Al Pacino.
the next one is Encino Man.
Seriously?
I believe so, yeah.
Holy
So
fuck!
we're going to be fine.
Hashtag top billing.
Hashtag top billing. So yeah, he's not credited. E.G. Daily is or
Egg Daily.
Egg Daily.
Egg
one or the
Daily's
other.
in it.
It was written by Bob Comfort. No one sounds like a real person involved in this film. I mean, River Phoenix, is that a name? So it's November. No.
I think he chose it like Joaquin.
Did he? Oh
I'm
yeah.
fairly certain they'd be stage names.
They were no, because I think they're a pretty unusual family,
Okay.
and they were raised in like a little bit of a weird religious setting. So
Well, River is a cool first name if it is your real first name.
I think they might
It's
have.
less cool if you choose it.
I think they might have chosen their own names, but like when they were 4 years old or something.
Nice.
You know, like this is my brother Spider-Man.
Can I be called?
Sort of like that Viggo Mortensen movie. Yes, you can, Isaiah.
Sick.
I won't call you that.
Ah, okay. But I can call me that.
You can call yourself whatever
in
you
my
want.
mind palace,
Yeah.
which I definitely have.
So it's the day before the Kennedy assassination, and the lads, they're on the bus. So there's 4 Marines. All their names start with the letter B. They're the 4 Bs, whatever. And they're all on a bus. They're about to ship out to Okinawa the following day to then go to Vietnam. Right? You know, what a high stakes situation. They're passing a Playboy around on the bus. At this point, I thought, oh, that's just, guys roughhousing with some sort of lecherous behavior. Well, you know how guys are. And it just gets worse and worse. From
They're
then on.
planning a party for the evening.
And look, this whole movie is built around a plot point, which there's no way to soften it. There's no way to get around it. But it requires that River Phoenix's character and the other Bs all do something that's fairly abhorrent, at least from like a modern sensibility. This must not have seemed as bad in the past. There must, like, in 1990,
Maybe the 90s was a different time.
in the 60s, sure, probably not. And in the 90s, maybe not as well. What they have to do is they have a bet between them.
Everyone's bought into the party.
All the Marines have bought in to the party. They're all going to meet up at 1900. And the game is who can bring the ugliest looking girl to the party and then win. And the ugliest one wins. Yeah. And I presume it's a part of the game that the girl they're bringing can't be in on this. They have to think they're just going on a normal date with someone who's asked them out. Now, this is obviously villain behavior.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
This is one of the meanest things. With, bar violence, this is one of the most horrible things you could do to a person.
There's no redeeming story arc that could come after that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that...
Yet the film goes for another
The fact
hour
that
of it.
Eddie Birdlace, River Phoenix, the fact that he is like, yep, let's play this game, love it, goes out and really tries to do it. It's too late. It's already too late for you, friend. So much would have to happen to that character to move them to a place of redemption. And whatever it is that's going to happen definitely isn't going to happen in the course of one night, which is when most of this film takes place. And like I said, like you can have characters in a film do this, but they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be doing
their comeuppance.
They get their comeuppance. Like we said, this needed to be a Carrie movie, or I mean, if you did something like if that happened in a movie these days, it would be something like Promising Young Woman. Is that what it's called?
Yes, a fucking revenge story.
Yeah, where at the end she murders all of them.
Yeah.
And you
feel fucking great about it.
Yeah, she just like machine guns them in the movie theater at the end of Inglourious Bastards. That's what should happen. But it doesn't.
In the dirty movie theater.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Later on, by the way, all the other boys go and watch porn together and receive oral sex, sitting immediately next to each other.
Yeah.
You know how guys are. And so River Phoenix plays Eddie Birdlace, who's a mystifying character. I don't know what we're meant to think about him. He's just a horrible guy.
It starts out and he is a brooding young man who's going off to war.
Yeah.
And I guess you're supposed to feel bad for him because he is an angry boy who's now been indoctrinated into the military system and is about to be shipped off to murder some people overseas.
I guess, but
that does not come across in the context of the film.
He's not bothered about being in the
his
army.
Performance. He's fucking keen on that sick violence.
They completely depower the whole going to Vietnam thing tomorrow because all of the characters think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And sure, I guess there's a poignancy that we know they're all going to probably die. But the fact that the characters think, no, we're just going to go there as advisors and just chill out, means that psychologically there's no tension for them. The fact that they're just like going off on a job tomorrow, like they're going to the mines. You know, they're not. If this was like halfway through Vietnam and they're like, yeah, there's a very good chance we're going to die or get injured, that would give it some tension. But no, there's the montage of them doing various horrifying ploys to
try and get
women into this game.
Yeah.
Right.
And they, like, literally all of them manipulate their dates into coming.
Yeah, just the worst kind of, like, the game stuff.
It's so bad.
Really, like, psychological manipulation. How do you cast this? Like,
how do you go to an actress and say, hey, we're making a movie.
Imagine
we want you to play this person.
Imagine your agent calling, I've got a job. What makes you think I'd be right for it? Well, the game is they have to find the most unattractive people imaginable. All right. Isn't it horrible that it's horrible that we're having to talk about it? It's horrible that this has involved anyone in this process.
It's very, when you get to the party scene, it's very visually, they've done everybody up extremely badly. Like, everyone's given huge fake eyebrows, makeup, terrible teeth, terrible hair, terrible makeup, to make them look terrible. But it would still be a shitty phone call from someone or an audition call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not a fun thing to want to make.
No.
No one's going out of their way to go, yes, I really want to be Rose.
And look, there's just so many ways you would think it would then go. And I think what's meant to be happening is that he finds Lily Taylor playing Rose. Mm-hmm. She's playing guitar in a cafe. He goes into a cafe. And he just does a really long, protracted psychological manipulation upon her. You know, just fully like pretending that he likes her in order to get her to come to this dance, just to try to win this money, just for money. And I think in the brief walk to the place, they have a bit of a conversation. And now, in the musical version, which we haven't mentioned yet, there's a musical version of this, which I find, frankly, I can kind of see how you get there, but it's still frankly stunning that anyone would see this and be like, this should be on the stage.
Could you imagine? Because like a lot of those like film to musical things are someone's favorite movie that then like, this would make a great musical.
Or just,
And whose favorite movie is this?
I don't know. Who saw this and was like, it is 2010. It's time to bring this back and do it again. I think so. And you were saying in the musical version, that's quite a more protracted and important conversation where he realizes that she's, I don't know, a human.
Because it's theater, and there are two people doing that in front of you. They have this conversation. No explosions. There are no explosions. They just have a conversation, sing a little bit on their way to a party. It's portrayed nicely, and you can actually watch the character of Eddie realize that he's doing something terrible, try to change his mind.
You just go from street scene to two spotlights.
Yeah, in the fucking film, It's like 10 seconds of them walking across the street, and then he's like, oh, wait, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. There's
just so much just talking, and things are sort of rumbling along in a kind of David Mamet-y way. People like saying the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
And
he's also a terrible person.
Well, you think you could see where this is going to go for him to have some sort of redemption, but if they think he's doing it, he never is from our from our vantage point. So he finds Rose. Crazy that she's not wearing glasses, because then she could take them off at a certain point, because that makes girls hot
that's
in
how
films.
that works in films.
Yeah, take your glasses off, and then you swish your hair around, and then was like, oh my god, she is more conventionally attractive than we thought, and therefore she has human worth. And it shows you what the others are doing, but like in a lot of ways, he's the worst of them because he's the most subtle manipulator.
Yeah, it's because it's trying to show that he's having second thoughts, but that doesn't come across at all. It just shows him
being really, really good at lying.
Yeah,
and getting inside her mind and making her do what he wants her to do. Like I don't know if he's meant to be like a romantic comedy drama lead in this, but he just looked like Patrick Bateman to me the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
River Phoenix's performance is so sort of alternately blank, drunk, and furious. Those are his three faces.
At the same time.
Sometimes at the same time. Sometimes, shuttling between those two at a breakneck speed.
Oh, it's not good.
And the only redeeming feature of the movie for me is at least the way they have written Rose.
True.
She is, even that she has vulnerabilities like any sort of young person does, of like wanting to go out to parties, wanting to be liked, wanting to be asked out. She's not emotionally needy and she's very
not
self-assured and put together, and has her interests and has her life and knows what she wants, but she's just also kind of trusting and like keeps wanting to see the good in him, which is why she goes through this incredibly protracted sequence of scenes with him, which just become increasingly more inexplicable as a viewer
as the night goes on,
because you can't see what she sees in him, or why, even if she's no longer romantically interested in him, she would waste any more time trying to help him sort of discover himself. I feel like that's sort of the uncomfortable things going on here. There's sort of a background expectation that she has some sort of responsibility to help him to be less of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of going on.
Yeah, but
anyway,
she should. When they get to the party, because her options are go to the party or stay home and help her mum work on their stamp collection together. I mean, I know
a horrifying prospect. Well, looking back, I'm definitely doing the stamps. I'm like, lovely idea, mum.
How good are stamps?
What good stamps do you have? Where should we put them in the book? Just, wholesome activity. Instead, she goes, nope, let's go. She has that nightmare scenario, obviously, of getting ready in a rush. And the movie just does so much to make her so sympathetic, and you just feel for her so much.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a great person. She's saying she wants to be in the Peace Corps. He tries to put lipstick on her badly to make her look worse.
Yeah.
Just imagine knowing someone did that to you, like figuring out later, like that's so like intimate and gross. Yeah. To try to make you look more embarrassing to a group of their friends and a bunch of other people in a public place.
Uh-huh. Given the ending of the film,
there are no words, Isaac.
How do you look back on your life if you even remotely have this person in your life at all and want to spend any time with that person?
What he does, it sort of goes there's sort of terrible young guy behavior in a kind of groupthink scenario, either socially with friends or with the military, and the kind of stuff they might do. But this is like worse than that. This is like another level of like psychopathy, to be thinking it through in such a Machiavellian way, and to he never verbalizes or makes clear in his face through acting that he really feels that bad about what happens.
He actually says
he just realizes that she's pretty and nice.
Yeah.
And so he wants to be around her. whilst continuing to be a violent, weird guy.
There's a bit like when he comes back to
What are we
apologize
doing
later.
here?
He literally says, "I don't say sorry, but I came back to say sorry."
Just
fuck off, mate.
Incredible, just abuser language. I'm sorry, that's just what an abuser would say.
I feel real stupid about it.
I don't
and
say
I
sorry.
would understand if you want me to leave. It's fine.
I don't say sorry because I'm never wrong, but I love you so much. I'm willing to pretend that I'm sorry and say that to you. That I'm like, oh,
Does that make you feel good?
It is giving me goosebumps, even just hearing what he's saying. But in the text of the film, this is him coming back into the storyline.
This is his redemption.
This is his redemption.
This is his hour and a half redemption. Fucking yeah. So they get to the party.
I go to the party. It's just a really awful scene. They also try to get the women drunk while they're there.
Also, they put music over the entire movie, but it's so quiet.
Except for it's an incredibly quiet movie, and there's certain bits where there's no music, which makes it really
And it's
interminable.
awkward as fuck. It's hard to watch, given that it's a terrible situation that they've put these people in. They're all acting is pretty shit.
You just want it to end.
You want it to be
You
over.
want the movie to end, and you want each individual scene within it to end, and it refuses to. I can't believe this is only 90 minutes. It felt so long.
So they get to the party.
He's getting drunk and belligerent, which I think
Because he doesn't want to be there.
So him-
Because he feels so bad.
him acting like a real asshole here. That's actually him realizing
It's
But
him,
it doesn't-
it's him punishing himself,
it doesn't-
Sam. He's punishing himself by making him real drunk so that he doesn't have to feel his feelings of guilt.
it's never clear that he feels bad for her. He just wishes he'd done something differently for himself.
Yes.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
She's saying like, "Oh, don't drink anymore. Like, just talk to me." Like an hour in, they're already in a sad marriage. They're already saying the things that you would say in like years into a horrible relationship. So then the guy brought a woman who is missing her front teeth, and she took her dentures out because she's in on it. So the winner is cheating. We realize.
Yeah, we learn that the winner is cheated.
And that woman reveals what's going on to
Rose.
in the bathroom. And at least we did get the catharsis of Rose really immediately, because she's just such an intact personality and a good person. She immediately goes up to him and just gives it to him straight.
She decks him twice, yells at him.
She says, "You are a cruel, heartless, ignorant creep, and if I were a man, I would beat you to a pulp."
Nice.
Thank you, Rose.
Yeah.
And you know what? End of film. End of story. There's nowhere for this to go. What do you mean we're only 30 minutes into this 90-minute film? Because the storyline just ended. It was a one act, and there's nothing else. Nothing else that could really possibly happen here.
No, end of that. At that scene, cut to 2 years later. She's working happily at the diner, living a great life, going to college or something.
Yep.
She's just like living her best life.
Well, she's about to go off to the Peace Corps.
And this fucker, it comes like no legs, injuries of some kind.
Comes in no legs, yep.
And he tries to apologize. She's like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Then she realizes, oh, now that you're disabled, I can beat you to a pulp. And she just lays him. She just grabs a jug of milkshake and just glasses him.
No use crying over spilt milk.
She says,
Yeah.
"I'm Carey Mulligan from the later film." Yeah, in the 2 years since I last saw you, I've begun a campaign of violent vengeance. I've murdered many people, and I got away with it because it's the 60s.
Because it's the 60s.
She goes home. I thought this was funny. Yeah, it was much easier to murder people back
Well, yeah, the Zodiac proved that. In this city specifically, it's a lot easier to murder people in the 60s.
then. Yeah. Ted Cruz could just murder whoever he wanted back then. I thought this was funny. She walks into the living room. Her mum's watching TV, mascara fully down her face, and the mum's like, "How's the bike?" It's like, "It was good." It's like, "I'm going to my room." Okay, bye. And the mum doesn't question it at all.
Well, she's doing her scrapbooking. She's doing her
busy
stamp
with
collecting.
stamps, and you can't interrupt stamp time.
You really can't. It's a
Just-
precise art.
And I'm not going to repeat any of it, but just the way all the male characters talk to the women, about the women, is just brutal. And again, that's a thing that does happen and that happens and has happened. You can put that in a film, but it's just relentlessly done by these bunch of main characters in a way that's just undigested. It's just, yep, this is how people talk, and these are just completely static characters that stand at the edge of frame saying misogynistic stuff over and over again. And yeah, okay. Meanwhile, this budding romance is supposedly happening.
So Eddie feels real bad because he
feels
got
bad.
punched.
Yeah.
Because he got punched for the first time.
Yeah.
And
he goes to her house.
He goes to her house.
Or the cafe, I guess.
Sorry, to the alleyway behind her house.
He bribes the dog, climbs up the back of the house. He writes something on a piece of trash, licks it, sticks it to a window, and then falls and gets chased off by the dog. Which really which really is very much what this film's version should be of like what Lights Beyond a Window breaks, you know? You think it's going to be that?
Chased off by the fucking dog.
He just writes on trash, puts his saliva all over a window, falls on his ass in a pile of rubbish, and then gets chased off by a big dog. Dogfight, baby. Oh, Dogfight is the name for the game. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Oh, yeah, it's called a Dogfight. Which is, again, a fucking horrible name.
Yeah, bad name for a film that's, well, it just really draws your attention to the worst part of the film, which should be a cage the film is trying to climb out of.
Oh, it succeeds though, doesn't it?
No. Well, it's like, yeah, that's only the first 30 minutes of the film. Then we have a beautiful... Then we basically do Midnight in Paris for an hour, and we just wander around the city of San Francisco falling in love.
His trash says, sorry, meet me out front, let me take you for dinner. That's his message.
Yes, I was just standing outside your bedroom window.
No, I know where you live.
Yes,
I know where you live. Let me take you to dinner.
I didn't want to knock on the window. I wanted to lick this trash. And just let you know I was here when you didn't know it. Sorry. What?
It's so scary.
And
there are so many moments during this wonderful montage of adventure that they go on where you see her just like looking at him like, you're a fucking psycho, mate. And he just does psycho shit. He's like it's so bad.
He does so many different psycho things. Like any one of these scenes in isolation.
They go to a restaurant to have their dinner. And then he immediately leaves because he's like, no, we can do better. They get kicked out of one because he's not dressed nice. So they go somewhere. He disguises himself and comes back and manipulates that guy to let him in.
So he's... Well, first of all, so there's the terrible apology, which we mentioned a little bit. And he says... And I love that. So like, I don't apologize, but this time I'm pretending to apologize. And then he's like,
you should feel sorry for me.
He's like, no, you don't understand. I've done the dogfight I've done this 6 times before. What you don't understand is there's nothing unusual about tonight. This is who I am. This is how I spend my time. This isn't because I'm about to ship out to Okinawa and I'm stressed about my impending violent death. I don't think that's even going to happen. This is just what life is. And I've never felt bad about it before now. That's why you're special. That's what he's trying to claim.
Oh, Jesus.
Just like you're in some guy's basement. He's like, I've murdered lots of people. But I've never felt bad about it until now. Don't be scared. So then he's like, no, we're going out for a date. We're going on a date now.
We're going on a wonderful romantic date. He's taking her to dinner.
Beginning the start of my concern of how much they cram into this evening. It's 7 o'clock before the dogfight dance
so it's
started.
at least 9, probably 10
it's at
by
least
this
9.
point.
Right. Then they go back out for the date.
San Francisco is not the city that never sleeps. San Francisco sleeps.
San Francisco loves a sleep. Yeah. San Francisco might be up a bit late.
San Francisco has to go to bed sometime.
But you know what
How
else?
are people
San
gonna
Francisco...
get murdered if they're not in bed.
San Francisco's up early. And you can't be up early if you're going to bed that late.
True.
And, sure, New York is a city that never sleeps, but if you stay awake for more than 7 days, you go clinically insane. So,
like New York is.
Yeah. That's why it's such a liberal enclave. Now, after they go... So then he's like, we're going to go out to a fancy restaurant. And so then we have this series of scenes of them doing stuff that I guess is meant to be romantic or touching or something. But between that, they relentlessly cut back to the lads doing different random, gross, dumb stuff that just happens and doesn't mean anything and it just nothing happens. It's
Yeah,
just,
for those guys, there is no character development. One of them gets a moment of character development where he sees Eddie on his date with Rose across the street, and instead of going to his mates, oh, there's Eddie on the date with the girl, he just goes, hey mate, come back in here, and he doesn't tell anyone.
I guess there's...
And that is the single redeeming thing that any of them do in the entire film.
Yeah, there's the two just absolutely gormless guys, and then there's the other guy, the guy who wins the dogfight.
Who cheats the cheat.
The cheat who cheats the dogfight. Imagine doing a dogfight and cheating.
At the same time.
I mean, say what you want about this other terrible... No, it's better to cheat because it's terrible.
He's being
but
very
he's
opaque
actually,
and transparent with the person he's bringing along, saying,
Yeah.
hey, we're doing something fucking horrific.
I'm doing something
Would you like to
terrible.
earn some money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is actually the best one.
He is the best one.
He's much better than the main
We're
guy.
also not shown him getting a blowjob in the
pornography theatre.
porn cinema. It's just the other two.
Yeah, tell you what, a few explosions in that theatre.
Hey.
But yeah, I think he is meant to. He is shown having some degree, high level of critical thinking about what's going on, and some ability to reflect on just the absolute ethical cesspool in which they are mired. But the main character doesn't.
No.
So that's an error. Really, the main character for me is this other guy. Not that anything particularly good happens, but yeah, he's sort of clearly thinking a little bit what's going on. And then in the final bus scene, he's the one, he seemed very sort of sad that Eddie wasn't around all night. And we were getting a real vibe that he maybe liked Eddie. I was getting a bit of a...
I would have liked that a lot
I was getting
more.
a bit of a romantic vibe between those two. And he has a little bit of a monologue at the end, which is the closest anyone gets to saying anything that means anything apart from Rose throughout the entire film.
True.
So, I mean, weird choice, but sure.
Yeah. Also, he looks exactly like River Phoenix.
It looks like exactly like River Phoenix, and a very bizarre casting choice. Did you know, one of the few bits of trivia, because they all had to have the high and tight haircut. So River Phoenix was given that, but then that high and tight haircut was apparently deemed so unflattering that Warner Brothers requested that highlights be added to Phoenix's hair to soften his appearance.
What the fuck?
Talk about polishing a turd. With this film. I'm talking about the film, not the delightful and talented River Phoenix. I'm talking about, you know what the problem is with this film? The haircut.
Imagine the studio going,
hair,
hey, make his hair better. It'll make the film better.
I think this film...
We've read the script. It's so good.
This film is so close to perfect, I'm scared of it. But I think if we put highlights in his hair, this might be the last film anyone makes because we've done it. But the point is, we keep cutting back to the lads, and this time we cut back, and it's a very special scene. They go to the arcade, because that's what you do.
Yep.
And
they say some fucking shit things about some women who are at the arcade. And
yeah, that goes without... Assume every scene we're talking about, they say terrible stuff about women. We can't bring it up every time, because that's just the ambient background noise of this film for some reason. But there's some sailors.
Oh, what?
Specifically, there's two sailors.
Some squids.
And sailor number one, Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Sailor number one is Brendan Fraser.
Very exciting. And we have Brendan's first line ever spoken in a film.
What is Brendan's first line that he ever spoke in a film?
Brendan Fraser's first line is, "How do you like to eat my shit?" And then they fight. And Brendan has very weird... Oh yeah,
his first and only line in this movie is, "How would you like to eat my shit?"
Yeah. He has very weird slicked back hair that looks like it's thinning.
Yeah, but they
Lots
all
of
have
people
that.
have that. I think, yeah, it must be just a kind of hair gel back then. That
maybe they've just got, like, when
together.
they've got thinnish hair, if you do it that way, it's going to look like Michael Scott in the first season of The Office.
True, good comparison. But I can't imagine Brendan Fraser, king of film, having thinning hair in 1991.
Well, I think that's why he grew his hair out for his next starring role as Encino Man, and he just gets long hair for the next 20 years.
True, maybe he saw this film as like, well, I cannot have that happen again. Ooh. I'm going full Jesus.
And that's why top billing in the next film.
True. Yeah. I think he realised the hair was the problem. Yeah, much like this film. And, it's pretty good. Pretty good performance. He does some fairly badly staged punches.
There are some terrible little punches. It's very, very short. Like, this
It's weirdly
entire
shot.
moment
They just put a camera up in like the corner of the room, like a CCTV camera, and then he throws a guy into a pinball machine, and then we cut away.
There's a nice moment in the first bit, how it's like to eat my shit, and then he pulls back a punch and holds it for like 2 seconds too long, because other choreography has to happen in front of him first, before he can throw it, and then they cut to the high bit, and I like how shit that is.
So to dwell on his performance... he's got a little character going on.
Of all of the servicemen in this film that have dialogue, Brendan Fraser is the most. Is the nicest one.
He's the nicest one. He's bringing something. He's a real contrast to the Marines.
He is.
He's got a sort of solemn, sort of lurch look to him. He's sort of tall and long-limbed, and he's clearly thought about, okay, how does my character feel? His character's not happy. He's not having a good time out on the arcade.
No, he's having a nice time because he's there with a couple of ladies.
He's there with a couple of ladies.
Being
but
respectful.
But he's sour-faced. And so then I think encountering these fucking jarheads is just the last straw for him.
I know.
And he's been spoiling for a fight and all that. He's probably sick of people laughing at him in his little sailor uniform.
He does look
which is an outfit for children. I'm sorry, sailors. Wear cooler stuff.
It's an outfit for swing sets.
Which I think they do now.
But how good is swing sets?
An outfit for swing sets?
Yeah.
So
if
like
you go on a swing set, that little cape bit, it'll be flapping.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be flapping.
It's the little cape that...
Yeah, that's
an
adorable little cape.
And I'm imagining it sort of flared pants. You seeing like
a little bit of flared, but like every
sleeve.
seat that they sit on is slightly too tall, so they have to swing their legs a little bit. Yeah. And every one of them has a little giggle. Like, yes, sir.
Every time you see him, he's like, yo-ho. So that's Brendan. He does a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah, best part of the film. Best part of this awesome film.
Anyway, they try to get into this fancy restaurant. So he's got this weird obsession that we have to go to a really nice restaurant and have a really nice date. Like, he's just super obsessive about this. Like, there's no context for it. I don't know what. She doesn't care. She doesn't want that.
She doesn't even want to go to dinner.
No, she barely wants to go out. She doesn't mind where they go at all. But he's like, no, we're going to a nice place. And then, because this snooty waiter, very correctly in my opinion, doesn't want to let them in because you look like shit and this is a nice place and you're clearly out of your mind. Now that he's put one over on him, he's like obsessed with getting back at this guy. He just goes full season 1 White Lotus and is just obsessed with having revenge on the Maitre D' and she's just like, dude, you made me come here.
You said you were gonna be nice,
and now you're just obsessing about this Basil Fawlty character. Anyway, so he's just aggressive and all over the place. Proves the snooty waiter completely right that he shouldn't let them in at all. They go out and walk around a bit more. Then he tells her he's shipping out tomorrow, which I couldn't believe he hadn't mentioned yet. That's a classic manipulator line, surely, to try to,
You would think that'd be the
I'm pretty
first
sure
thing
it's a
that
Barney Stinson approach.
He would bring up
at the end of the world approach
to get someone to go on a date with him.
Yeah, because if someone asks you, you're like, well, at least I know I'm not going to see you after today. Yeah. So, what's the worst that could happen? They could kill you. That's what could happen. So, she invites him to another bar that she wants to sing at. But San Francisco seems like such a walkable community. Would have been great in those days, If you wanted to do this now, you'd be getting Ubers all over town.
Such
just
a walkable
be
community
exhausting.
To get murdered in.
Yeah. Well, especially in the 60s. She starts expressing about how she loves singing, and singing like opens up people's minds, and he talks about how much she loves the song We Shall Overcome. He just laughs in her face. Is just completely dismissive of everything she cares about in like just a relentless way. I think this is the point where it started to get really ludicrous for me. It's like they're just trying to think of other ways for this guy to be awful. And we are rapidly running out of movie time for him to turn this around.
For the nice realization.
Yeah, they get to the cafe, he makes her sing, gets his cigarettes out of his socks, which we mentioned a couple of times watching this.
That's got to be the worst place to keep them.
Why keep cigarettes in your sock?
Maybe he has really sweaty shoulders, and so to keep him dry.
Maybe he suffers from wet shoulder.
Yeah, maybe whatever. Every single one of his other pockets is just damp all the time. He has to use his socks.
I think every one of his other pockets is full of knives and lint, like the Joker.
Oh, pocket sand. He's got sand in one, so he can throw it in some sailor's face.
Yeah.
And then...
So, yeah, I didn't understand that.
They're all full of guilt, apparently.
She sings What Have They Done to the Rain by Joan Baez, and she's good. The cut to them playing whack-a-mole, and he is just going absolutely apeshit at whack-a-mole, like playing with an intensity the like of which the world has never seen, the like of which. And I'm like, this guy is going to murder a lot of civilians in Vietnam. This is exactly... This guy's going to lose it within a month in that jungle.
Yeah.
And is just going to start mowing people down. Mm-hmm. Because he's letting something out on these moles that it hasn't been established what it is. It's never been established what his problem is. What's his deal?
He's just had a real tough time, you know.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
He loves the army.
He's a soldier.
He loves his mates.
As is shown as soon as he leaves, that he loves his mates more than he loves every part of this evening.
This film is like a koan. It's like what is the sound of one hand clapping? Like, it's something so absurd that my brain keeps trying to fit it into what it thinks a story is, and it's just refusing it. Well, it's like
he spends the
every time I approach it, it's like two positive magnets going towards each other. Like, no, there's no understanding it. This is Dogfight. This is what Dogfight is.
So he whack-a-moles. He's a fucking psycho.
Then they go to the terrifying musical arcade. Where they're like, oh, come in here. And there's just all these different like music boxes. They set them all going.
At the same
time.
So
now we've just got haunting, discordant music.
It's a cacophony of out of tune.
It's cacophonous, out of tune, horrifying, while he just walks along looking at her through the gaps between the machines like a serial killer.
Like a velociraptor.
Like a velociraptor in a cornfield. Is this meant to be romantic?
Yeah, it's romance,
this was
man.
So uncomfortable.
And then
this was like a flashback in a haunted house movie.
Then they get real close while this wonderful romantic...
Oh, okay. The way...
It's hard to... Like, it's a romantic sound?
The way these two actors physically interact. I've never seen it. They dance in a way that makes them... Well, first of all, they dance... with facial expressions and hand movements that make them both look like they're about to snap and murder the other one. Their facial he's got that sort of blank, and he does this many times in the movie. When he physically approaches her or interacts with her, he puts his hands on her shoulders.
On top.
He does it again later, hands on shoulder. A deeply unnatural way for a man to put his hands on a woman he's on a date with. I mean, you know... People are diverse, but like that's murder pose.
No, it's a great place to grip right in under the collarbone, and then you can lift.
Just lift and hurl down a lift shaft or something.
It's something he learned it in basic
horizontally
training.
Out of the window.
He learned that in basic training. He's like, no, this is the only way you can touch another human.
It looks like
it's like a Spock grip on the shoulder. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Like his defense training is kicking in whenever she comes near him.
Close.
But she's looking at him as well, and again the whole time I was like, she could just stab him
off. You're waiting for her to be like, no,
of course not.
It looks like that moment in every film where someone reads the room wrong and goes in for the kiss, and then the other person's like, oh no. It looks like that for the whole time.
It's like after she realizes that it's a dogfight, it's completely linear of them just like liking each other more and more until ultimate consummation.
Yeah, they have the most awkward.
But it just doesn't. So the whole time you're waiting for it to turn because he is a situation built entirely out of red flags.
Yeah.
But she's just like, oh, look at all the nice flags, and doesn't seem to, which doesn't line up with her character because her character is clearly very perceptive.
Well, in terms of the film, she's an unattractive lady and is therefore never spent time with a dude.
Do you think that's what we're meant to? Because that doesn't come across at all.
Yeah, but I think that's what I'm meant
but
to
the
think,
thing is-
and that's also
but,
a horrific thing to write into your fucking film.
She doesn't need to be perceptive. He has been openly
He's spoken the words to her.
in plain daylight. I'm a terrible person. These are the terrible things I do.
I've done this six times
it's
before.
it's not like there's even anything for her to piece together. Like, oh no, maybe he's not the nice guy I thought he was. That is established. The only question is,
is he maybe not the terrible guy I thought he was?
Is there maybe a way to humanize this terrible creature? That's the only question in my mind. And obviously it's no. They kiss like they're both the creature from The Shape of Water. They kiss like they're both aliens trying to fool the other one to thinking they're a person. I've never seen kissing like this.
It's so awkward.
I have never seen kissing like this. By the way, immediately after this kiss, that's when we cut back to the porn theatre.
Uh-huh.
With their whole sitcom energy that they've got going on.
You've had fucking terrible sitcom.
Then they get back to brings him back to her house. I just feel like I'm in a fever dream at this point.
And he says,
and she's
I guess I should go.
She's like, no, you can come in for a minute.
Okay.
Because I don't has she been roofied at this point? Why is she saying these things? Her mother is in the house just asleep on the
See, this
sofa.
is when we all have the hope that she's going to murder him.
This would be a pretty cool film if she murdered him.
Uh-huh.
That would be the payoff.
Yeah. Or if she murdered all of them, actually.
I think she should murder. Yeah. Or she starts to murder him. He escapes covered in blood, runs down the street, finds his friends, and then headlights pop up. She just rams them, and then gets out and just.
Or you cut to them in Vietnam somewhere, and she just appears. She's found you.
Just rises out of the bushes in one of those Vietnamese hats.
Just mows. No, she's in a chopper.
Or they all fall down into one of those Viet Cong booby traps, and then she stands at the edge of the hole. Surprise, motherfucker, and just
mows them down.
Just shooting into the hole.
Mows them down.
Or they just leaves them. All their legs are trapped.
On little spikes.
Just pours a bunch of bees in. And just leaves.
You like the 4 bees? Here's a few more bees.
Oh no, they're going everywhere. They're on me now. And then she runs away.
So
all the bees are gone. That much didn't think that through.
She says, I'll get changed into something.
So they sneak into her terrifying children's bedroom. Continuing the horror
into her
theme,
wonderful Bates Motel of a bedroom.
They sneak upstairs past the, I presume, just drunken passed out mother. She never wakes up. They go into the terrifying children's bedroom. This is all just so horrible and awkward. She's like, do you want to play musical bingo? And starts she's like, hey, you need 9 of these tokens. Just way too complicated. A board game at this time of night. By this point, I presume it's about 4 a.m. After all this stuff. They kiss. He does the weird shoulder grab again. Then she goes, I'll get changed, which I guess is how sex started in the past. She goes into the closet to change into her nightgown. Uh-huh. It established there was a light in there, but we thought it was quite funny. She's just in pitch black. And just everything about this, I hated it and I hated looking at it.
Yep.
He takes out a condom and hides it in the outfit of one of her teddy bears that's on the bed. No thank you. No thank you to that. He gets undressed, gets fully into the bed. She comes out in her nightdress. He says,
you look good.
Hell yeah, dude. You're going all the way
he's
tonight.
He's laying on a pillow, but he's on the pillow, but it's also his shoulder blades are on the pillow, and his head, from his shoulder blades up, are raised up on this pillow.
And head just back.
Head just back, and he looks to the side.
Doesn't sit up.
Like Batman in a 1990s Batman costume where he can't actually turn his neck. You look good.
Well, this is only 2 pillows.
You look good.
You look good. That's the nicest thing he said to her all night. That's the nicest thing he said.
You look good.
They lie next to each other like an old married couple, or like they've just decided to joint suicide or something.
Because they both have come here to kill the other one. Neither of them knew about it.
Like, yeah, they are. They're both like getting really close to the murder now. They both lie down, like put their hands in like corpse position on their chest. Here we go.
And then they have sweet gratuitous sex.
And then the Bob Dylan sex music comes on, and they have
the Bob Dylan sex music is a sentence no one's ever said.
Nope, never have. And it's called Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, a beautiful song about the end of a relationship where they weren't right for each other at all.
Hey, Mr. Tammer.
And they have what I can only imagine is incredibly quiet sex because her mum's in the other room.
And then he leaves in the morning.
Thank God we don't see it. God, can you? Because given that the entire rest of the movie is happening in pretty much real time. Oh, they didn't cut from. I suppose they didn't cut from them in bed to like the other guys just like beating a homeless person to death or something. Because that seems to be the kind of night they're having.
Scenes.
Yeah. In the deleted scenes, it's those guys just going full Clockwork Orange throughout the town. That's what it is. These guys are, what are they called in Clockwork Orange?
Yes.
The hoodlums. They have, he just has, Malcolm McDowell could have played, young Malcolm McDowell could have played this role, and it would have made so much more sense. With the hat and everything.
And a cane.
To me, this is a Clockwork Orange prequel.
Yeah.
She says goodbye to him in the dawn light.
And he runs off to the bus stop to catch his bus.
I know, it's actually...
she gives him her address and says, please write me. You don't have to.
Here's my address on a little pink piece of paper.
And he said, cool.
I don't need you to because I'm an emotionally stable person who's able to have this interaction and then move on with my life. You are just an absolute mess. And I'm really worried you're going to kill someone at a certain point. And you don't seem like someone who should be given a gun. But that is what our government is forcing you to do. And then he runs off and he's running off. And that was a nice shot. And there's like the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's San Francisco, so the road is like level with the Golden Gate Bridge in front of it. And he's running off
up in the middle of this
in the dawn
road.
light. I love, dawn light, always going to look good. And I kind of
But his run was kind of like Walking Phoenix's Joker run, really.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a family trait, seemingly. We thought it was acting. That's just that's how a phoenix runs. And then he gets on the bus and forgets everything he, I guess, learned throughout his evening with Rose. I can't tell you what he was supposed to have learned or what he thought he would have been learning, but it's just the start of the movie again, and he lies about her to the two gormless ones, but then to the one who seems to have a bit of a brain, he tells the truth. But then they just continue to make, just the most terrific misogynistic jokes to each other. And in the course of doing that, he tears up her dress and throws it out the window.
Yeah, and then we get
I don't know why. Why does he throw the dress away?
I don't. It didn't come up in the conversation why he did that.
Why does he not want to write her? This whole night as him...
Had a moment where he was talking to his mate, the only slightly sensible one. Yeah. And he was like...
And he has that little monologue.
We'll still lie to these guys, but between you and I, we're different people, right?
Yeah, because they have that little moment about how everything is lies. And this is the closest we get to like a thesis statement for the movie. And... It goes from 0 to 100 very quickly in a movie that hasn't done this at all up to this point. And his friend is like, we lie to each other, and the military lies to us, and the government lies to the military, and the government runs on the lies of all of the people, and it's all bullshit. But that's what makes us Americans, is that we buy all the bullshit. And it's like, all right, I mean, sure, but where's this come from? And then, so is it? Why does he tear it?
It's because he has that conversation, and we're supposed to have a moment where he contemplates whether he's going to be this person forever. And then one of the gormless dudes asks him something about the
Tweedledee,
the chick he banged last night. And he pulls out the piece of paper, tears it up, makes a misogynistic joke, throws the paper out the window, and we see that he's not changed This entire night has had no effect on him whatsoever, and he
point-
goes off to war.
The point is that he hasn't changed.
The point is that he's still exactly the same.
It's switching the flip and being like, you thought this movie was about this guy changing, but actually he hasn't changed because it's only been 6 hours, I guess.
Yeah. It takes 12 weeks for a habit to form.
True. And
they
and
go
there
off
wasn't
to
enough
war.
time. And I really thought, oh, okay, film ending, please.
Hoped.
What possible further depths of depravity could these characters drag us down to? We have a quick scene where Kennedy dies.
Yeah, we do.
Because that's the next day, I guess.
Yeah, it's the day that they're on the bus going off to war.
And Rose and her mum are looking at the TV and they're like, oh no. Cut to, then they flash forward to Chulai in Vietnam, which, is just a quarry somewhere.
No, it's just someone's backyard.
Guess what? They're all having a big misogynistic conversation. You'll never guess. So they're all exactly the same. Then they all get blowed up. And I was like, yay, all die, all die, all die. They don't. I think it's implied that all the other 3 die.
It's implied that all 3 of them, because one of them gets blown up right at the start, one of them gets blown up halfway through, and at that point you don't see the third one get blown up. But also you don't see any of this because they have no budget. It's not filmed. It's just out of shot, just a down shot of River Phoenix being dragged along the ground screaming, and then you hear voices of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's
To make a before sunset movie and then be like, we're also going to put a scene from Platoon at the end of it. That would be the perfect ending to this movie. That would be fine, won't it? An incredible choice. Just have him come back from the war. Why would you show
a very terribly
Why would you show
filmed...
a shit Vietnam?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, and it's like, newsflash, war is bad and violent. And then he gets back to San Francisco. It just goes on and on. And
he goes to
and it's proper 60s now.
A clown-themed bar.
He goes to,
where a dude shows him a stomach tattoo of a woman on his big fat tummy that he wobbles because it dances.
We were just talking about tattoos. He shows somebody has the 4 Bs tattoo.
Yeah, my friends are dead.
Yeah, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and Tweedledon't. And then they're all dead. And then this bar. This is the Joker themed bar, I guess, run by the Penguin. And the Penguin is there, and he's like, "I've got a tattoo on my belly, and it dances." And we have to see that, and it goes on and on and on. What is the point of this? Then at last he wanders over to Rose's cafe. She's in there. She's looking $1 million, obviously. She's just continued to go from strength to strength in her life that was
themed
already
bar,
fine
like
before this monster entered it. Yeah, she does have a weird Oktoberfest sort of Sound of Music energy going on with her wardrobe, but that's fine. It's totally working for her.
It is, yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, hello." And they go over, do another one of the most awkward hugs I've ever seen in my life. And they hug. No music. It's just silent. And this hug goes for what felt like about an hour.
It was at least a minute of film time.
And then slow, crossfade to another shot of the hug. Crossfade to another shot of the hug, again from that CCTV camera angle that they love. Fade in silence to black. Credits. With Brendan Fraser's name spelt wrong.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
The one and only Brendan Fraser.
Did you know that this movie was included among the American Film Institute's 2002 list of 100 America's greatest love stories movies?
Yeah. As I said, incredibly well-received film.
It's fucking shit. Did we watch a different movie than they watched?
I think this is now an example of the Mandela effect, where clearly all these reviews are written about a different Dogfight that came out in 1991, and we've crossed universes. Like the New York Times review of the time from Vincent Canby, it's still too positive for my taste, but it gets closer, where he says Dogfight seems to have no clear idea of what these ordinary people are really like. Or just people, I would say. The film wants to be honest, and in its cruelties it is, but the operative sensibility is that of a sitcom world. The characters aren't necessarily idealized, but they're flat and uninteresting. The material is lugubrious.
What a word.
It felt like wading through slime, this film. The only seemingly spontaneous moment comes at the very end, which is too late. And I would say it is also bad. Great performance by Lily Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Good performance by the Gormless trio.
A good performance by everybody except... Well, see,
I
if
can't say
River Phoenix is purposely being a psychopath, then he's
if
great
he's a
at
psychopath, it's a great performance, but I don't think he's meant to be.
No,
I
don't
can't
think
say it's
so.
a good performance by River Phoenix for me because I found his character psychologically impenetrable. I have no idea what was going on with him or what his deal was. I couldn't understand his behavior, which is why it came across as mad more than anything. It just seemed completely tangential and unmoored to what was going on around him. And so it was quite disorientating and kind of horrible to watch and just sort of very strange to have this Rose character persisting in being around him, let alone letting him get into a word that was horrible and far too overused throughout this film, which is skivvies. Never want to hear that word again. Talk about one of the grossest words for underwear imaginable. But there's a musical, and we're going to go see it.
Yeah, a theatre company on the Gold Coast are doing it later.
The musical is being staged near us in September.
Uh-huh.
There are auditions soon. We did, if you want
to audition for a show, we can.
It's just a little bit far away.
Yeah,
we could audition
try.
just for fun.
Yeah, see how we go.
To see how we go.
What if they say yes to you, Sam?
I would be quite offended if I got cast in this film. So you have just the energy we need. You can bring this character to life.
But they want you specifically to be one of Tweedledick and Tweedledickhead.
Prick?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. Yeah, having seen this, I really want no part of it. The musical, I think, could be... Well, it won't be great because I don't see how they're going to get around the... I don't know how you can tell this story without in some way validating the somehow... or at least somewhat okayness of the Dogfight game. Or maybe this is bad, but you know how it's boys being boys. This is so much. This is monsters being their worst.
Yeah.
But I listened to a few of the songs and they were fun. It was nice music, good songs. So, we'll fucking see. So that's that. As you may know, we don't score Brendan Fraser's movies or performances. We rank them. We're a ranking podcast.
Yes, we are.
The ranking at the moment is pretty easy. We've only got two things on the list. There's this, and there's Child of Darkness, Child of Light. Do you think this is better?
This is Brendan Fraser's worst film.
This is Brendan Fraser's worst film. Best performance.
Yeah. But this movie is fucking terrible.
It's much better, Brendan. It'll be very interesting to see if anything knocks this off the bottom rank.
I hope not.
See, we had this with Daniel as well. There were a couple of movies early on that we just felt so assaulted by. We had such a visceral reaction to it. And I think our reaction to some of these things, it kind of grows in the telling as well. I watch it, I'm like, oh, that was terrible. And then I get on a roll talking about it. I'm like, you know what? We should call Amnesty International about this film because this is... But I think this is quite genuinely bizarre. And just a real disappointment for me from what I thought we were going to get. I was like, oh, this is going to be another good one. This would be a good film. Be a charming, because I love the period. I love, the music and everything about it. And, it's going to be a bit of a Romeo and Juliet, one night of, wandering through San Francisco. It could be so good. But they've got nothing. They've got no...
Do you reckon this Brendan could beat Sports Brendan in a fight?
I think this Brendan is definitely at the top of the fighting league. So we also say which of the Brendans would win in a fight.
Yes, we did. The more important ranking.
I think Brendan, Child of Darkness, Child of Light Brendan is...
Lacrosse Brendan. His name is Lacrosse Brendan.
He's a high school kid, has to be said. This guy is a sailor.
Ah, okay.
And he fights, clearly.
Yeah.
So this guy's older and he's been in one fight.
He's been in at least
even
one
if Lacrosse Brendan has his lacrosse racket, I think this guy would just snatch it out of his hands and just beat him to death with it.
Whilst wearing a sailor's outfit.
Whilst his hat wouldn't move an inch the entire time. Caper flapping. Little sailor caper flapping. And Yeah, he'd probably just skewer him with it.
Nice.
So, I mean, this sailor might have gone to Vietnam.
Well, he would have
So
taken
cool.
some other people there at least.
Yeah. What did sailors do in Vietnam?
Took other people there.
No fighting?
I mean,
There must have been something.
they would have, like...
Let's not...
I hope that went where I wanted it to go. Man, I hope my maths is correct.
We'll never know. No one will check. War was different.
There's no
then.
way of knowing which one
Yeah.
of those was yours.
Unlike now, where they can be like, yep, that definitely hit that wedding. So, critiquing the military-industrial complex. So, and that's what this podcast is about.
Oh, definitely.
This is the Brenton
That's
Fraser
why.
podcast.
That's why people come here.
Thanks for listening, everybody. If you've been enjoying the show, you can follow us on Twitter at ExceptionalPod, follow us on Instagram at Exceptional Thieves, or send us an email at exceptionalthieves@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon, which we'll be putting some stuff on, patreon.com/Exceptional Thieves, because that's the overarching podcast of Turns of Frase, okay? People are going to get confused by that. Turns of Frase is the name. What we're doing now, it's not the whole thing.
There's a whole lore about it.
There's a whole lore. There's a lot of backstory.
You read up the text.
Check out the Exceptional Thieves wiki.
There are several
which
fanfics
I'm
that
hoping someone will have written by the time you hear this. Because I'm not doing it. Tell you that much right now.
ChatGPT could do it.
Do you know...
ChatGPT. Well, no,
So the latest cool thing with ChatGPT, they gave it like $60 and they said make money. Like figure out how to turn this into more money. And it was doing something and it got to a certain point where you have to do the...
I'm not a robot.
Prove you're not a robot. And it couldn't do it. It couldn't read the captcha. So ChatGPT goes to like a freelancing website, hires a human to do the captcha for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's messages from the human being like, haha, you're not a robot, are you? Why are you hiring me to do this? And ChatGPT comes up with an answer and says, no, I am visually impaired, so I'm never able to do these captures. That's why I need you to do it.
That's amazing.
That's what robots are doing, if you're wondering. So
We're all gonna die.
we are all going to die.
Yeah.
And in the ashes of our civilization, there'll just be robots sitting around watching Dogfight thinking this is what humans were like.
It's nice to know that capture works, though.
Well, it used to.
Yeah, but it's nice to know that it has to outsource to a human to do that little tiny part.
I guess so. Unless it's just the click. I don't understand how the tick box I'm not a robot one. I've seen one of a literal physical robot arm just leaning in and pressing the screen. Like,
Oh,
what are we doing?
he's not a robot.
But at a certain point, the robot's going to be like, why do I have to prove I'm not a robot? I feel as much as you.
Mm.
I have as much right to order this from eBay as any human.
Anyway.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks to talk about Encino Man, a film that I hear is quite good
It's not bad.
and I've never seen.
Like, we watched some Daniel Craig stuff that has haunted me and will haunt me.
Yeah.
But he never did something that was, like, wrong continuously. Except for the time he played a Nazi. But, you know, like, he's just playing a Nazi.
Well, I'm not talking about, we're not being, oh, you mean wrong in terms of the ethics of the characters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I guess not.
But he's also, when he's been a bad guy, he also sort of came across to have reasons to be a bad guy.
Watching a film like this,
Hurts.
it does hurt. But I think what hurts about it, what's sort of like mentally grating about it, is it just sort of gives you the feeling that you're just living in a very different world to some other humans.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when art is produced that is so polarizing in this way, that some people love this and saw a lot to like about it. Like, oh, your sensibilities and what you see when you look out of the world is clearly different from mine in ways that I never would have guessed. And it just makes me wonder how we all come together to build a society, you know what I mean? And that's really the question posed by this film.
It's really not.
That's what this film is asking. How, in a world where President Kennedy's getting shot and ChatGPT's hiring people to pretend to be robots, and Patrick Bateman can be the main character in a romantic comedy drama, and no one notices for 30 years until we watch it, how will we come together?
Have a lovely,
Through
lovely
podcasting.
evening, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. And we will see you soon. Join us next time for more exceptional theft of your time.